Hey guys, GunFather here. Welcome back to my office for an episode of Firearms Friday. Today, for Firearms Friday, we're going to be discussing fireballs. Specifically, the types of fireballs that we get from using compressed gases such as our propane, spray paint, and to a lesser extent butane. Now, if you'll notice throughout some of my videos, I like to make big fireball special effects. Now, you may ask, well, why don't you just use tannerite or some sort of high explosive for that? First off, the laws governing tannerite on YouTube or making tannerite demonstrations without the proper license are sketchy at best, and I prefer to just use the more legal compressed gases that you can use without having any sort of legal troubles. So that's why we stick to our compressed gas fireballs compared to our tannerite or high explosives. Now, first thing I want to say is don't try this at home. There is nothing safe about shooting cans of compressed gas, let alone shooting them and making giant fireballs out of them. But if you're absolutely somebody that has to try this at home, if you're one of the people that says, well, I'm going to do it anyway, please exercise caution, because there is nothing safe about this. These things are totally unpredictable, and you really want to make sure you're plenty far enough away and there is nobody else around, because like I said, these things are totally unpredictable. Now, the three types of liquids that you usually have seen me use throughout my videos are propane, spray paint, and like I said, to a lesser extent, butane. The reason we don't use much butane is it's more expensive. It comes in a smaller can. The amount that's in the can is smaller, and it just doesn't quite give us the large fireball that we want, that we get from our other types of compressed gases. Now, first thing you got to do, you have to have, using one of these compressed gases, you have to have an external ignition source. So that's why you'll see me use some of my old gun cleaning rags, stuff that I clean my guns with. I've got plenty of them laying around, and from time to time, sometimes I'll even soak them in just a very small bit of gasoline just to make sure that the fire that's around my canister stays burning and actually ignites my cans instead of blowing the fire out, which does happen from time to time. So if you use gasoline or some sort of flammable material on the rags, it usually helps that fire stay more substantial and actually set the can off just about every time. Now, you'll notice from these three different types of liquids here, or gases, that each one of them makes a different type of fireball, not only in size, but in color and the length, the time of the fireball stays around. All of them will do something totally different. So whichever effect you're looking for, you can pretty much pick the type of fireball that you want. Now, propane, probably one of the most common fireballs that you'll see in movies and on YouTube and stuff like that. Propane is a very bright fireball. Now, these are 16.5-ounce canisters of Coleman propane, and check out the fireball you get from one of these. Flaming propane tanks. We got our BMF activator here installed on our Marlin Model 60. Let's hit this thing with a burst. Alright guys, well, as you noticed, that was extremely bright, and the fireballs that you get from these things are large. Propane is a very hot burning, fast burning gas, and it just makes for a very large but a very fast fireball as well. It doesn't stick around long. So if you're wanting something that's going to make a longer lasting fireball, you're going to use something more like spray paint. So check this out. Alright guys, we've got our flaming spray paint can, 55 grains worth of 5.56. Here we go. Gotta love that. Sweet. Alright guys, these are just 10-ounce cans of spray paint. You can get these for just about for $1 just about anywhere. Walmart, dollar store, anything like that. Now, as you notice, these are, like I said, this is only 10 ounces compared to the 16.5 ounces of liquid or of gases that are in our propane tank. So the size of the fireball, even though it was not as large, but if you'll notice, the fireball stays around longer and is a darker, more orange-colored fireball as compared to the super bright, almost white fireball that you get from the propane. I think they are a more pretty or beautiful-looking fireball out of the spray paint, and that's why you'll see me use it more often than anything else. And also, it's extremely cheap, $1 per canister, and you see just the one can, the size of the fireball you get is very substantial. Now, like I said, also to a lesser extent, I've used butane from time to time to make fireballs in my videos, and the reason I don't use it a lot is, like I said, not only is it only come in much smaller capacity in the liquid that's in it, like this is a large can, same size can as the spray paint, but there is only 8 ounces of liquid as compared to 10 ounces in our spray paint. And the butane burns extremely fast and extremely bright. So using the butane is not as economical and just doesn't give me quite the effect that I'm usually looking for. So check this out. That last little burst we did with the Model 60 with the BMF activator was so fun, I think we'd do it again on a butane tank here. Alright guys, as you can see, the butane is probably the brightest of all of our fireballs. And if you'll even notice, there's actually even a blue ring that is around the fireball at certain points, and because of the fastness and the fast burningness of the butane and the very hot, it's a very hot burning gas. So it gives you that blue ring around it, which sometimes is a very great effect if that's what you're looking for. But it doesn't stick around long, much similar to our propane. Now you don't have to use just these three types of compressed gases. You can use just about anything that is in compressed gas form that says flammable on it. Here we have a can of PB Blaster, which is just basically WD-40. Just a penetrating lube, and if you'll notice, it says on it, danger flammable in the warning. Now all three of these in their warnings say extremely flammable, and from my personal experience, what I have noticed is the ones that say extremely flammable give you a much larger fireball and give you more of the effect that you're looking for than if you just use something that says just flammable. Now, you can use these and they do work to make a fireball, but it is not the substantial fireballs you get from these other ones. Check this out.
Tiny Mountain Tracers. Got our 1022 in the bullpup stock. Flaming can of WD-40.
Alright guys, that was just a very small 3-ounce can of WD-40, but it was also a very tiny fireball. And had I used a full 10-ounce can like this to make the fireball, it still would not have even been close to as comparable as what we get from our spray paint or butane or propane. So that's why I don't use it a lot. It's not as economical, and it's just not as nowhere near the sizable fireball that I'm looking for usually. Now you guys also may be wondering, well, if you've got tracers, why don't you just use tracers to set these off instead of having the fiery rags around your cans? You know, tracers are a flame moving through the air, usually magnesium or phosphorus, and they do create a source of fire. But from my experience, I've never been able to get a tracer to actually set off any sort of compressed gas in the canister. Reason being, and I've even actually shot gasoline, just a can of gasoline with a tracer, and it still won't set it off. And my theory on this is that the tracers are moving so fast, even in low velocity form, that they don't have enough time to actually set off your gases. I've never seen it done with tracers, using just the tracers to set them off. Now, maybe if you had a lot of different, more than one person shooting tracers at the same time into one ignition or one sort of flammable material, maybe then. But I just prefer to have an external ignition source. It just seems to work better in almost every time. Now, like I said, sometimes I'll soak my rags in gasoline when I put them around my canisters, because that will give you a very good substantial fire around your canister, which will allow those gases to ignite once they expel out of their canister. Now, these are compressed gases, and they are a very powerful gas just alone, without being fire. If you punch a hole in one of these things, it's a very quick rush of air and gases. So sometimes when you don't actually have gas or some sort of flammable material on your rags creating that fire, it will actually blow the fire out. That's why you'll see me usually when I'm making these fireballs use smaller caliber rim fires or pistol calibers to set these off over like my AR-15s or high-powered 308s or something like that. From what I've found, that AR-15s, 223 and 5.56 is such a fast-moving projectile, and they're designed to dump their energy when they hit their target. So when 5.56 hits all that liquid inside of one of these cans of spray paint, it blows the entire can of spray paint apart usually, and a lot of the times if you don't have a good substantial fire around it, it will actually blow the fire out from that big rush of air coming out of that can all at once. So check this out.
Green Tip SS109 versus our propane and spray paint. Here we go.
Alright guys, well, as you can see, same setup as everything else, but when that can of spray paint blew, it just blew the fire out. Instead of the gases when they came out igniting from a fire, they were so fast and so strong that they actually blew the fire out. So that's why I like to soak my stuff in gasoline and use these smaller rimfire or pistol calibers to set off my my canisters over using a high-powered rifle. Now, I have used high-powered rifles numerous times, but like I said, I like to soak those rags in gasoline because they just sometimes will actually, you don't want to waste your money, so that's why we do that. Now, like I said earlier, these are only 10 ounces in one of these dollar cans of spray paint as compared to 16.5 ounces in our cans of propane. Now, if you notice how much larger our propane fireball was than our spray paint. That was just strictly because of the amount of fluids inside of each can. Now, if we were to set off 2 cans of the spray paint at once compared to 1 can of butane, it would be much more comparable in size. So check this out.
Alright guys, got our 1022 here, a couple Tiny Mountain tracers. Here we go, let's do this. Oh yeah. Now, let's compare that to this nice can of propane here.
Alright guys, well, I hope you all have enjoyed this video. I've had a lot of fun making it. It's been a literal blast. So, if you guys like this stuff, remember we do this every single week. We've got Trick Shot Tuesdays every Tuesdays where we do trick shots, and Firearms Fridays every Friday. We review firearms and firearms related products. So guys, if you like this stuff, give me that thumbs up button. Please be sure to rate, comment, subscribe, and share. If you want to see plenty more, hit that subscribe button. Like I said, we do this every week. I'll see y'all next week. GunFather out.